Welcome to the Artist Interview Series. In this podcast, we feature interviews with some of the brightest music educators and musicians from around the world. Our goal is to provide meaningful conversations and insights into their creative process, to discover the inspiration behind the music, and to learn from the experiences of these talented musicians. Our host today is William Crawford, a Lilly Theatre Company drum instructor and associate producer. In this episode, we spend time talking with trumpeter, composer, and educator Jason Palmer. So let's jump in and get to know this week's inspirational artist.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lilly Theatre Company Artist Interview. I am the host, William Crawford, and we have a very special guest to introduce to you all. Very honored to have him. He is trumpet player, he's a recording artist, he's a professor at Berklee College of Music. So please give a warm welcome to Professor Jason Palmer.
Hey, everybody.
Yeah. So we're in April, which is considered Jazz History Month. So for all the viewers out there, that's basically that's part of April and stuff. And so what do you think about all the jazz and stuff that came along with the history and everything?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the, somebody told me once, and they said, jazz is one of the greatest contributions that this country's made to the world. So yeah, that's how I view it. I've seen this music bring a lot of people, a lot of cultures together. So honored to be a part of the continuum. So yeah, I think every month should be Jazz Appreciation Month. I think the idea of April being Jazz Appreciation Month is not a new thing, actually. It's only come along last couple of decades, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, I'm appreciative of that labeling of the month. But for me, it's 12 months out of the year.
Yeah, I've seen some of you picture you playing your trumpet, and you kind of remind me of Miles Davis. Is Miles Davis one of your big influences in jazz and stuff?
Yeah, he was one of the first trumpet players that I listened to and really learned about when I was in high school. Him, along with there's another trumpet player named Clifford Brown that was a big influence on me. Miles, he had the musical, inspiration, influence, but he also had the band leader inspiration. He was great at bringing bands together that really, really clicked and played well together, and also his sense of style and fashion and just the whole attitude that he gave to everything he did. That was really impressionable for me. I'm not as flashy of a person as he was, so I tended to lean more towards a person like Clifford Brown, somebody who really studied the instrument and really mastered the art of improvisation. But yeah. But yeah, I love Miles. I love all of them. I was telling somebody a few weeks ago, they were asking me who I checked out, and I told them, I said, I've been influenced by all trumpet players who've played with integrity, from Louis Armstrong to Bill Dixon. And that's a really wide spectrum of artists that I've really checked out. So yeah, I try to carry that same continuum.
It's really good. A lot of great trumpet players you mentioned there and stuff. Very great jazz artists. So where'd you start? Where'd you grow up at? How'd you start your life?
Yeah, well, I grew up in a small town in North Carolina called High Point. It's in the middle of the state. It's the furniture capital of the world. There have been a handful of musicians that have come from there who've made significant contributions to American music. The first one is John Coltrane. He grew up in High Point.
Wow.
Fantasia Barrino, a great singer, did. And yeah, so I grew up there. I started playing trumpet in middle school when I entered sixth grade, kind of by accident. Initially going out of fifth grade into sixth grade, we all had to take a hearing test. And so if we passed the hearing test, we could sign up for band class. It was one of those things where you put on headphones, and if you hear a beep, you have to raise your hand. It's kind of weird thinking about it now that was a thing, but yeah, we did that. And so if you passed the test, you were able to sign up and take band, and you had to list your first 3 preferences of what instrument you wanted to play. And so everyone in my class wanted to play saxophone. That was a popular thing. And so me being, the person who wanted to, do what everyone else did at the time, I listed saxophone, then I listed trumpet as my second. I don't know what I listed third, but since my last name ended with a P, I got stuck with my second choice because everyone else took up all the saxophone spots whose last name ended before the letter P. So, yeah. So my mother went out to a music store and bought what she thought was a trumpet. It turned out to be a cornet, which is, is very similar to a trumpet. And so I initially started on cornet, which was probably a blessing because that instrument's a bit more compact, so it fit my hands a bit easier. And I took band class for 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th grade. And all throughout that, I started to build, more confidence in learning how to play. Going into my 8th grade year, I ended up listening to the radio a lot and just taking out my trumpet and trying to play along with the songs that were on the radio. And that's what really piqued my interest in how the instrument worked, is just figuring out, this song sounds like this because it's in this key, and then this song is in a different key. I was like, all these songs have different keys. Maybe not so much the case now, but yeah, back in the early 90s, there was a lot of variety on the radio. So yeah, that on top of I started taking private lessons when I was in high school with a trumpet teacher named Ronnie Engel. And he got me really learning how to read and learning the repertoire of the classical canon. And so I did that, and I ended up going to a music school 3 nights a week in the neighboring town, Greensboro. They just opened a school a few years before I went to it, called the Greensboro Music Academy. And there I was able to study with Ronnie and also took some small jazz ensembles. And so I was put in an ensemble and learned about improvisation and everything. And one night coming home from a rehearsal, I was in the piano player's car, and we were driving home, and he pops in this CD of this trumpet player, Clifford Brown, that I mentioned earlier. And it was a record that he put out with a drummer named Max Roach, entitled Study in Brown. And on that record, the first track is Cherokee, really fast up-tempo song. And
yeah, definitely Brown, Cherokee.
Yeah, he played this solo on that song. I had never heard a trumpet sound like that. And so I brought it to my trumpet teacher, Dr. Engel, and he said, maybe you should learn how to play it. Maybe you can transcribe it and, play the same notes he played and see if you can do it. And so so I ended up transcribing that, and he said, you should get, deeper into this. So he brought me another CD of a trumpet player named Nicholas Payton, who's teaching at Berkeley now. He's a colleague. He's a visiting scholar there. And so, yeah, he brought in a record called Gumbo Nouveau of Nicholas Payton. I think it was his second record on Verve Records. And there was a solo on that CD that he took on a song called Whoopin' Blues. And then I transcribed that solo, and that's how I got into the art of, learning this music and learning the language of it. So yeah, it's kind of a long answer to a question, but yeah, it kind of set me on the path of, learning about the music.
That's good. Yeah, that's kind of when I was in high school and stuff. It wasn't really me because I was the drummer, but I was kind of part of it. But we, my band director got us to transcribe Freddie Freeloader, Miles Davis, if you know that song. So the piano player, he put the piano player solo, and then my friend Ryan, the trumpet player, he did the trumpet solo and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool. So, what was who influenced you to play music overall?
Well, going to that school I was in a combo which had 2 horns. It were 2 trumpet players in that group, and the other trumpet player is kind of Calvin Cooper. He was 2 grades ahead of me, he was really encouraging, and then there was a rhythm section there, and also Dr. Ronnie Engel was really supportive. And also the public school I went to had a big band program of, I don't know, maybe 100 students that were in the concert band. And I was also in marching band, and I did all state and all regional concert bands and stuff, and all state band. But yeah, I think through my high school years, probably Dr. Ronnie Engel was the most helpful and encouraging musician to say, maybe you should consider, studying music in college. At the time, I didn't know you could go to college for music because I came from a small town, and, I thought you went to college to, say become a doctor or a lawyer or something. But I was like, are there schools specifically for music? He's like, yeah, there's not many around here, but, up north, maybe you could look into that. And so he got together a list of schools, and he said he really wanted me to study classical and jazz. And so he said, there's a school in Boston called New England Conservatory that it's a small school, has a really strong program in both. And so maybe we can put together a audition tape, and see what happens. And so we put together a tape, and then I got invited to do a live audition, and that's how I ended up in Boston. I ended up going to New England Conservatory. But yeah, he was probably the one that really got me to really get serious about playing and into music. And then when I got to Boston, then I started to meet people that were my age who were really serious, and they were really influential in me wanting to really get better and dedicate all my time that I had to really practicing and becoming better. Because when I got to school, there was a lot that I didn't know about, a lot of tunes I didn't know, a lot of players I didn't know about, and, so yeah, I just always felt like I was in a race to catch up with all the stuff that I thought I should have known before I got to college. So
that's good. I think I've heard a lot of people at Boston Conservatory. That's part of Berkeley now. So yeah.
Yeah, I went to New England Conservatory. Yeah.
Oh, New England.
Yeah,
okay, different. Sorry. Different colleges, but Boston, like
close
every
enough,
college in Boston's good. So
yeah.
That's cool. Let me see. So yeah, taking lessons. But to me, like taking lessons is not hard, but it is take time to practice between lessons. That's hard for people. I find my own students struggle with this all the time. Do you feel practice is something that comes naturally, or do you have to work at it?
For me, it was, I was like a quiet kid in high school, so I was used to being by myself. Practicing is really it's a lonely sport, when you're working on your own personal craft, but when you're rehearsing with others, that's a different aspect of it. But yeah, working on your personal development, it wasn't so hard for me because I was used to, working on stuff by myself. So when I got to NEC, I realized how much work I needed to do. And I had a trumpet teacher named John McNeil, who, my first lesson, I'll just tell you the story. He sits me down, he says, okay, I want you to play a C scale, 2 octaves. So I started playing the trumpet. And as I'm playing, the trumpet is tilting downwards toward the ground. The bell's tilting down toward the ground. So I was what you would call a pivot player. And he said, okay, if you want to go any higher, your notes can't, your horn can't go any lower. And now to do this, he took me to the bathroom. It was like, you need to look in a big mirror to see what you do when you play this. And so we went downstairs, went to the bathroom. I played these scales in the bathroom. He said, okay, now if you want to change that, you're going to have to practice this method called the Caruso method. And then we can maybe change the way that you play the trumpet. It's like, you're going to have to like pretty much start over, change your embouchure. And so I was like, okay, sure. We can do that. And so I put all my faith in him, all my trust in him. And every lesson, he would give me these things to work on. And so I had a lot to work on in the practice room. So for me, it was more about really taking what my teacher had, because I knew his work, and I had gotten his records and stuff before I got to school. And I knew how much he knew and how much work he had put in. So I wanted to just get on that same path. And so just having a lot of work from him, and that's just the playing the trumpet side. And then it was also a musical side. You know, he was giving me solos and players to check out, songs to learn and stuff. So he kind of built the foundation of, you know, you need to learn this, you need to learn more of this. I mean, you know, so I still try to carry that responsibility, you know, when I practice.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Yeah, band directors that help you and stuff. When you were talking, we kind of, I was thinking we kind of shared like the similar things when we were growing up. Like I was doing the same thing. I was in marching band. I was in jazz band. I started like even 5th grade beginner band. I think when I started, like it was actually conducting. Like I saw my future junior high band director. I was in elementary and he was just conducting. I was just fascinated the way he conducted and stuff. So I was like, this is cool. So I went to that school just because of that, the junior high. And I met the band director and we took the recording. I don't know if you had that when you were a kid, but they had the recorder class.
Yep. I did that in 5th grade. Yeah.
Same. Yeah. 5th grade. So I did that. And then I started playing drums that time. I started when I was 8. So I was like, all right, well, let me do the percussion section. So we signed up as percussion. My dad got the usual bell kit and the snare and went there and started doing that and practicing songs and I did honor band my 8th grade. And then I was always, I think we took like tests and I was always like the best one. And then I got to, when high school came, I went to football games and they call it the junior high nights, where the junior high played with the high school marching band. So I used to always play with them. It was always fascinating. I was my cousin that's 4 years older than me. She was in the color guard with the high school. So went there and tried out for the drum line and made it for ensemble freshman year. And then I did tenors sophomore, senior year. And then I did everything like Towns music, symphonic band, jazz band, like every music thing they had at that school. And yeah, of course I did high school honor band. Actually, senior year I made it was like a little bit after COVID because we got back like late 2020 and stuff, and we had online honor band auditions, and I made first chair for that. I've tried out for All-State, but I never made it. I'm not exactly sure why, but that's in the past. But then I discovered Berkeley, like when I chose colleges. Actually, my 3 colleges I had was Loyola in New Orleans. That's where I'm from. I'm from New Orleans. And Belmont in Nashville, Tennessee, and Berkeley. I actually made it to Berkeley, so we we actually toured Loyola and Belmont, and then like at the time 2021 Berkeley was closed and we didn't know that they were not doing the tours for Berkeley, so we went there and we saw Berkeley, but we didn't go in it or anything. So I never saw the inside of the place until I was a student there. So it was a little complicated, but everything worked out and I'm here. This is my 4th semester. So we kind of share the same things and stuff. Like I was mostly self-taught when I did drum set. I didn't get like prior instructions till COVID hit. When COVID hit, I had nothing else to do. So like I didn't do any like marching band or anything like that. So I wasn't busy or anything like that. So I started taking, actually my drum tech, one of my drum techs wanted to teach me drum set. So I was online with him. And then there was another guy named Sam Rumberg. I think he did a clinic in Berkeley one time, and he's from Philadelphia. So we did lessons online and stuff. And then when I came to Berkeley, I started doing prime instructions and stuff. So it can go either way. I kind of like being taught by someone else, because you don't know, like I don't know everything about music, and like either you or anybody else more experience. They know a lot more about music and they can help you out with your abilities and stuff. So yeah, sorry for putting a lot out there, but
no,
I kind of have the same experience as you. When we were growing up, we kind of climbed up the same way.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
where we're at. So have you played any other instruments other than trumpet? I know you play the cornet, but any other instruments?
Yeah. Well, I taught in the public schools for many years, probably like 12 or so years. And it was in the woodwind and brass program. And so I can play a little bit of the woodwinds, like little clarinet, flute, alto, saxophone. We didn't have a tenor. Trombone, a little piano. Can't play like any Bach or anything, but I can comp chords and drums. Let's see, bass. Been playing a lot of bass. In the past about 2 years, I've been working on some guitar. But mostly trumpet, I'd say, is my main instrument. But yeah, in my ensembles at Berkeley, I have to play a lot of bass, and sometimes I have to play drums. So
yeah, you know what kind of ensembles you're doing?
Yeah, most of my ensembles at Berkeley are small group jazz ensembles, and then I have a couple of this semester mixed styles ensembles. Yep. So yeah, I've been doing that since I've been there. I've been there for about 12 years.
Oh, in Berkeley?
At Berkeley, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I've been here for only 2 and I'm a student. Yeah, I did mixed styles. Well, this is my last mixed styles ensemble because I'm 4th semester. I'm in I think you had to take like 4 ensembles for your diploma. I'm taking diploma, but yeah, I think I did 2 semesters with, Lil Jon Roberts.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, I got 2 semesters with him, and I had 2 more with some teachers. But like Lil Jon, he's the beast on the drums. I think I'm taking him next semester with prime instructions. So great drummer. And for all the viewers out there, Lil Jon, he's a drummer for Janet Jackson, Stevie Wonder, everybody and stuff. One of the basically, like with Berkeley, you get taught by big musicians that have been around the world and everything, just like Jason right here. You just one of the big positions, definitely a great school. So yeah, is there anything else you'd like to share about like your own music genre, like your own music and stuff?
No, you can find it. Yeah, anyone can find my music and it's on all the streaming services. Apple Music, Napster, Tidal. Yeah, so yeah, I just let that speak for itself. Yeah, composing, arranging for a long time now. So
yeah, I kind of skipped ahead, but do you feel schools lack music programs like in public schools? I know you teach there and stuff, but
like the public schools in the US or just in general, or
yeah, public schools in the US and stuff. Like, do they lack any music programs and stuff?
Yeah, it's a huge deficit. There could always be more, and I think it's one of the most beneficial things you can give a child, the gift of being able to play an instrument. Back in the 30s, 40s, your grandparents' age, most houses had a piano in the house and people played. So just the value of playing an instrument, can't be spoken highly enough about in this country. But if you look over across the pond in Europe, most public schools don't have they don't have music in the schools. It's interesting how that works. But I think in the U.S. there should be a lot more, and there isn't any reason why there isn't a viable reason why there shouldn't be. So yeah, that's an uphill battle. When I taught in the public schools in Boston, the program was funded by a program that was put on by VHS, the TV station called Save the Music program. So they donated instruments to the school, and then they contract out a teacher to teach. And so I taught there a couple of days a week. And, programs like that shouldn't be necessary, because you think, the property taxes that places, municipalities should be able to fund stuff like that. But it's just a matter of, prioritization. What do these communities value? Martin Luther King said that, budgets are moral contracts. So what they show what you value. And so music shouldn't be as far down the list, in my opinion, as it is. So yeah, to answer your question, there should be more music programs, especially for young kids. Because there's numerous studies that show the benefits of music education on a young mind. So yeah, it's heavily needed.
Yeah, it's good. I can answer some of this too. I'm not the when I did other colleges, like when I tried out for different colleges, usually like the big thing is jazz and classical. That's like the two main things with a lot of universities. Like Berkeley is kind of like a university, but it was really not. It's more like it's an actual music school. So the reason why I chose Berkeley is because it had like other things. Like it had like Indian, had rock, had metal, had jazz, had hip hop, like just everything around the world and stuff. And probably if I go to the other colleges, if I discover more details about it, I would probably see kind of a similar thing, but it's not as like intrusive as what Berkeley does. Like it's Berkeley, just even teaching there and being a student there, it's a very great thing that you get to learn from a prestigious school that like teaches you like everything you want and everything you can. It's just the best of the best and everything. So yeah. So you want to talk about like what was it like to teach at Boston Public Schools?
Yeah, it was, I enjoyed my time there. I wish the program had a bit more resources, but I'm glad they had a program. I started there. I was teaching woodwind and brass for third grade all the way up through middle school. And so some of the students were complete beginners, had never played an instrument. And so I had a few students who were my students there that ended up going to Berkeley, and they were in my ensemble at Berkeley. And so I had one particular trumpet student who was a beginner. And then, he was half my height. And then when he got to Berkeley, he was 3-4 inches taller than me. And so, yeah, just to be a part of the students' early development, that was nice. I always was thankful to be a part of that. I taught at a school in Mission Hill a couple of days a week. And so it just kind of added to their whole form of an education. We learned not only about the instruments, but we learned about music, rhythm, dance and songs. I had a few students that ended up composing music, by the end of their by the end of the second year. So, I think it's, I really enjoyed it. So, I think it's something that you got to have, you got to really love to do it, because, it can be a challenge at times, but just to be able to see the end result, I think is what really matters, seeing what they can do at the end of the semester in their concerts, so I'm just kind of working towards that every week. We really have to be patient and still, give the students a push and instill the confidence in what they do, because a lot of times they wouldn't believe in themselves, or they'd have some some issues, and so yeah, it's got its challenges, but I think rewards they really outweigh any of those challenges.
Yeah, I can definitely relate to that as a student and stuff. It's sometimes like you just gotta probably with like Berkeley in general, like sometimes like it's like with me and Jerry Leak, drummer.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about this. Was it like yesterday? We had our class and we were thinking that like Boston, like Berkeley in general, is going to like they're giving us a lot of work and stuff to where like a lot of students they use the health and wellness a lot. So, and I get it. Like it's like Berkeley is one of those schools where it gives you a lot, but it's really good reference and they give you a lot of like help and stuff. So there's like good and bad things about that and stuff. So it's just something like that. And sometimes like they give you a lot to where you don't have the confidence to do it anymore and stuff. But it's just there's not a lot of people that have that much passion as I'm trying to be one of those people that have that passion. And a lot of people drop out of Berkeley. A lot of people drop out of other colleges because they know like they probably got something else to do, or they just can't do it anymore. Like one of my roommates, it was mainly financial needs, but yeah, but it's just as long as you have that passion to learn, and if you have that passion, then you're good to go and everything. So
yeah,
that's all good stuff. So talking about your college, New England Conservatory, what did you study in that college?
Yeah, I was a jazz performance major at that school, in jazz trumpet performance. So I studied with John McNeil, and at that school, you can you can split your studio. So 1 week you can study with somebody, and then the next week you study with someone else. So you can have two private instructors per semester in the jazz department. And so throughout my time there, I studied with Danilo Perez. He was there. Jerry Berganzi, Cecil McBee, the bass player. John McNeil was my main trumpet instructor. Bob Moses was there. And they had ensembles, big bands. And, there was solfege, all the theory courses, and we had to take liberal arts, but it's mainly a performance-based school. It's a conservatory, so we focus mainly on playing the instrument and stuff. So yeah, that was my time. And I started school in '97 and I finished in '01. So
yeah, it's good to do some jazz and all that stuff. I think jazz, like just doing jazz kind of like sums up everything with music, because jazz is like one of the most complex genres to play in and stuff. So it's like one of the harder sides of playing with jazz and stuff. So what's it like playing in clubs in Boston?
Well, I played in a club called Wally's down the street from Berkeley.
Oh, I love Wally's.
Yeah.
It's a great place.
Yeah, I played there for many years. And, when I was in school, that club's always been there. It's been there since 1947. There are some other clubs around that aren't around now. There was a club called the Barrett's in Dudley Square. That was a nice place. They had a session on Sundays. There was McConley's that actually closed down the week I moved to Boston. That was around the corner from Wally's, where the police station, across the street from where the police station is, near Northeastern. But they had a lot of music going on. There's a place in Austin called the Wonder Bar. They had jazz 7 nights a week when I was a student, and I played there Thursday nights for a couple of years. And there was, where else? I mean, yeah, there were clubs peppered around. Some that are still there. Scullers is there, Regatta Bar, Lily Pad. There was a place called The Good Life. There were 3 Good Lives, actually. There were 3. It was kind of like a mini chain. There was one downtown Crossing, there was one in Central Square, and there was one on St. Botolph Street. And they all had live jazz there. So there were clubs, peppered everywhere. And honestly, I think what happened is when 9/11 happened, a lot of the tourism dropped. And so a lot of places lost business and then places closed. Because, Boston would attract a lot of international tourism. People would come for conferences and vacations and stuff. But after that, a lot of places closed. But then some places reopened back up. So same thing is happening now. So yeah, there is a scene, but it's not I don't think it's as many places to play as there used to be when I was a student. And hopefully that'll turn around. I heard the Regatta Bar reopened not too long ago, so that's good news.
So, well, I've definitely heard a lot about Wally's and stuff, and of course, I've only been here. I've only been in Boston for 2 years, so could you describe and this is after COVID. Like, I don't know what Wally's was like before COVID, so would you want to explain what it was in the 2000s, 2010s, anything like that? Was it different than now and stuff?
Yeah. Well, I mean, that place was like a second school to me. It's the place that I really learned how to play music for people, because that's like a place where it's close to school and it attracts people who may not necessarily come to hear music. They may just want to come and have a beer with their friends, after being off of work. And so when you're playing there, it's a thing where can you play and be able to hold the audience, musically. So I learned, gradually, year after year, gig after gig, how to put together a set list and, how to play in a way that can really inspire people to say, oh, what's that? Or a musician that will come down and say, oh, wow, they've been working on, I need to go practice, because when I first went down there, I would go and hear great trumpet players like Darren Baird, who teaches at Berkeley, Jeremy Pelt, and they would play, from 9:30 to 2:30, 3 o'clock at night, and just play so well. And it's like, wow, man, if I could really get to that level and influence and inspire people too, maybe that would be a calling. So, that club, they provided that stage for people to really hone their craft. I played there for probably over 20 years. And, not one time did they say, no, you need to play this way or play that way, or, not play so loud or whatnot. And so you kind of have like a artistic green pass to really experiment with things. And they put their trust in me to be able to have a band play there every week. I played there on Fridays and Saturdays for a number of years. And also I hosted a jam session on Sundays when I first started working there. And in those sessions, those jam sessions, students would come from all over, from Berkeley, NEC, Longy, other schools from out of town. There were people that would come up from New York, come play with us. A dear friend of mine, Ambrose Hakamusiri, a great trumpet player. That's how I initially met him. He would take the bus up and play with us at Wally's, and then go back to New York to, Manhattan School where he was studying. And, so yeah, it's a fertile ground for you to meet musicians. A lot of my musical heroes would come down. Roy Hargrove would come down whenever he was in town, playing at either Scullers or Regatta Bar, wherever. After his gig, he would come down to Wally's, because he played at Wally's when he was a student at Berkeley. So it's a place where you meet, a lot of great musicians. That's how I met Mark Turner, the tenor player that I've been working with and touring with. Met him at Wally's. He played at Wally's when he was a student. So it's a place to really network and meet people who are really serious about playing. It's a small place too. I don't know if you've been inside, but yes.
Oh yeah, I've definitely been there, and it's always like just very great musicians, and every time I go there, it just feels great to be in there and stuff. Do you know Kevin Harris by any chance?
Of course, that's my musical brother. Yeah,
have you played?
Yeah.
You played with him at Wally's, right?
Oh, we played probably 1,000 gigs together.
Yeah, I've interviewed him earlier and stuff.
Oh,
but
cool.
I've become really good friends with him and stuff. I've seen him. I think he played at Longy Music. I went there and saw him. Fabulous composer and piano player and stuff. Yeah.
I had
these great musicians.
I had Domi and JD Beck play with me at Wally's. Yeah, and their artistry is skyrocketed now. But yeah, JD, he played his first jazz gig with me at Wally's. That's what he told me. I don't believe him, but that's what he told me when he was in Boston for that short period of time. This must have been about 7 years ago.
That's good. Yeah, Wally's holds a special place in all of us, and I'm glad it's open after so many years and stuff, and they're still going and stuff.
Yeah.
So what's it like for you in the music industry?
Well, I don't understand. What do you mean, like outside of teaching, or?
Yeah, what's like touring and but any albums, like do you have any? Have you produced what's it like with your music industry for you now?
Well, I've been playing in a couple of bands that tour. I mentioned Mark Turner. He's a great tenor player, composer, who went to Berkeley back in the late 80s. So I've been playing in his band for about 10 years now. Probably a little over, about 10 years. And I've been playing with a drummer named Allison Miller past few years. Been touring a bit with her and recording and stuff. It's, I've been lucky to be able to play with a lot of artists that I've kind of dreamt of playing with. About 16 records as a leader that, people that are listening to this can find on all the streaming services, and compose a lot and arrange. I've just been real fortunate to be able to get the phone to ring or the email asking them to play with people that I really admire. So between that and teaching, and I have a family, it's been a blessing, I say.
Yeah, it's good. You get to do what you love to do. That's all the musicians I say, you do what you love to do and stuff. Just something you're passionate about, and just work for that and stuff. I interviewed I forgot his name, Joseph Naj.
Oh yeah, the violinist.
Yeah, I just interviewed him last week, and we were talking about with your career, like if you're passionate into music, it's not really a job for you. Like you're having fun working. You're still getting paid and stuff, but you're having fun working. So it's not really work. It's not really work for you or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. The whole touring idea, in the beginning when I was playing, you kind of view it as work, but then you just realize when you go tour, playing's the easy part, but they pay you for the traveling, getting from place to place, the haggles that can happen, and also being away from home, being away from your family, and being away from not eating optimally and stuff, and just being at the mercy of whatever food's available and all that stuff. That's the stuff you get paid for. so it's definitely, you have to really really enjoy playing the music once you're playing with people, because all that other stuff can, make it not really worth it at all. So yeah, I see what Joseph's saying. He's my desk mate at Berkeley. Our desks are beside each other in the ensemble department. So yeah.
Yeah, he's I think he's in mixed styles too. Yeah, a lot of people mix styles. So let's talk about your albums. Like, what was it like recording your first album?
Oh, my first. Oh, geez. The first one was for a small label based in Spain called Iva Musica. Initially, we were going to have this session in Boston, but one of the members of my band fell ill, so we canned that session. I actually got a sub for him, and we went to the studio. The studio was not good. It wasn't a good experience, so we canned that whole session, waited for about a year, and then we redid the session in New York with a New York band. By that time, I was playing with a saxophone player named Greg Osby, and that was pretty much my first like major touring experience, was playing with him in Europe and stuff. And so when it came time for me to redo my first record, I asked him if he'd be willing to play on the record, and also the drummer in that band, this guy named Tommy Crane, and the bass player, bassist named Matt Brewer, also joined. And then I had Warren Wolf, a great vibraphone player, and Leo Genovese, a great piano player, and another tenor player named Robbie Coltrane. He's John Coltrane's son. He played on my very first record.
Wow.
And that was all originals. That was really a risk. Most new artists, in this genre, they'll put at least one or two standards on a debut record. That's not something that you see a lot of, to have all originals on a debut record. But I took a risk, and I was happy with it. I tried to write songs that sounded like standards on it. So that was my first experience, and that was with a label called Iva Musica. And then after that, I did about 12 records with a label called Steeplechase that's based in Denmark. And with them, I was able to record one record a year. That was my agreement with that label. And so some of those records I have my Boston-based band that I used at Wally's, and then some records I have a New York-based band on. So I did about 12 records with them, and then I did a record for a boutique label that was based in France called Nouvelle. And that's a subscription-based label where you pay a certain fee, and then you get all the LPs. They only release an LP. And so you get the LPs that they record in a season. So they'll give you 6, 7, maybe 8 LPs. And for that label, I did a recording where it's pretty much all ballads, but all the ballads are played in a non-ballad way. And all the songs were under 5 minutes in that project. But most recently, I've been working with a nonprofit that functions like a label, but they don't sell anything. And they're based in New York City, and they were started by a photographer and a music engineer. He does recording engineer. He does live recordings. His name is Jimmy Katz. He's like the Michael Jordan of jazz photography. He's like one of the living legends of jazz photography. He does just about all the covers for Downbeat magazine, and his work's been in museums and in all kinds of galleries in Europe and stuff. And so he's a highly celebrated photographer, but he started a nonprofit because a bunch of donors pulled together, and they approached him. They said, "We really like your work that you've been doing in the jazz community with your photography and your live recording and stuff. And we'd like to help you further, everything you're doing." So they said, here's some funds, start what you want. And so he started this nonprofit called Giant Step Arts. And so it's a label, but they don't sell anything. And so they give all of the publishing, all the royalties and everything goes straight to the artist. And then he hires a really great publicist named Ann Braithwaite, does all the campaigns for all the records that come out, and he does the design, does the photo shoots for all the covers and stuff. So he's created a brand over the past 5 or 6 years. So yeah, I've done 3 recordings. My latest 3 are on Giant Step Art. So I'm doing one this summer, live record with Larry Grenadier, Mark Turner, and Marcus Gilmore. It's a live recording at a club in Brooklyn called Ornithology. It's scheduled, so I'm going to knock on wood that it actually happens, because I've been dreaming of putting together a project with those 4. So,
that's awesome. Did they get Giant Steps from the song Giant Steps? John Coltrane?
Well, it's called Giant Step with no S on the end. So they didn't want to put the S on the end they didn't want to face any kind of legal stuff with that. So it's just Giant Step Arts. Yeah.
I heard the name. I was like, I know that.
Yeah, it's very similar. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you were mentioning about Downbeat. So I've heard Downbeat and Jazz Writer, they wrote about you. What was that? How did that feel like?
Yeah, well, I've done about 16 records as a leader. I think about 7 or 8 of them have been reviewed in Downbeat. And my first review in that magazine got 4.5 stars. I don't put too much weight and thought behind, those reviews, but I really appreciate them, including me in that magazine. I subscribe to them, and I got a nice Downbeat shirt. They got the best shirts, by the way.
Oh, wow.
The shirts, the cotton is just incredible. So if you're looking for like a nice shirt and you want to support the music, check out their t-shirts. They're great. But they ran a feature article on me less than 10 years ago. So it's, I was very fortunate, to be included. But them and there aren't many other magazines now. I mean, Jazz Times just folded. This no longer. So those were the main 2 jazz magazines in the U.S. And Jazz Times folded about less than a month ago, from what I read. So yeah, I enjoy reading Downbeat, reading the blindfold test and everything. I did a blindfold test a couple of years ago with them too. So yeah.
Oh, you play your trumpet with the blindfolds on?
No. They play music, and you have to guess who it is and give it a rating.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was wondering what you were talking about and stuff. Yeah. Speaking of shirts, I have like a Pink Floyd shirt. I don't know what it's made of, but it's so comfortable and stuff. Like, I don't know if someone gave it to me, but like it's so comfortable when you wear it. Like, so yeah. You were recording the Sudoku Suite. Is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah, I did a record of Sudoku music. Yep. That was for Steeplechase.
So tell our listeners what a Sudoku game is, for those who may not know.
Yeah, it's a numbers game that's based on logic. It's kind of like a puzzle where there are 9 3x3 boxes. And within the 3x3 box, you have to put the numbers 1 through 9, and also the numbers 1 through 9 have to appear all the way through the puzzle horizontally and all the way vertically. And they can't repeat. And so when you start a game, there are numbers already filled in. And the more numbers that are filled in, the easier the game is. The less, vice versa. And so, yeah, that's how the game works. And so, I wrote a suite of serial compositions, not the cereal you eat, but like serial as in, numbers-based music. And I wrote a blog about this, and you can read about it in my blog, but I'll give you like my 30-second elevator speech. And so what I did is since there are 9 numbers, I took 9 keys of the 12. And for every song, or every section of a song, I assign each number a note within that key. So 1 through 9 in a major scale, you got 8 notes. And so number 9 is the second note of the scale up an octave. 1 and 8 are an octave, just like the song Somewhere Over the Rainbow.
Yeah.
And so when I wrote a song, the order of the notes in the melody had to correspond with the order of the numbers in the puzzle.
Very creative.
Okay. And so when I started writing, it sounded very robotic. It didn't sound like music to me. And so I said, how can I make this, give it more flavor? And so I said, okay, for each number that was a note, I gave myself the permission to make that note flat or sharp. So I had a choice of 3 notes instead of just 1 then. And so that's what made it really come alive. And that's what kind of influenced me to be able to finish writing that and recording that music. But yeah, so that took more than 30 seconds. It took about a minute and a half to explain it. But yeah, you can check out my blog to go deeper into how that worked. But yeah.
Oh, that's very interesting and stuff. Yeah, that's very creative what you did. It's another way of composing and writing and stuff.
Yeah. And it's not new. I mean, it's been done before. People wrote music, based on serial things like that, or phone numbers, or Fibonacci sequences and stuff. So yeah.
All right, so let's shift gears to your first song you show us and stuff. So would you like to explain a little bit about it?
Yeah, well, I did a record some years ago called Places, and it was a project of songs that I wrote in certain places where I was touring, that I felt inspired to write in. And so, yeah, the first song is a song I wrote in Berlin. The first time I played in Berlin, I believe I was there with maybe Grace Kelly or somebody like that.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
I was in a small little hotel room, probably the smallest hotel room I'd ever been in. And I was like, let me write a song about this. So it's a pretty short melody. It's only like 14 bars. Probably represented the lack of space in the hotel room. But yeah, it's like a slow groove, slow jam song called Berlin. A lot of my ensembles at Berkeley play that song.
Yeah, I was talking about small hotels. Like when I got to Boston my first time, it was so weird because New Orleans is another small city, but like when I went to a hotel in Boston, it was so small, but it was so expensive and stuff. I was like, yeah, it's a small hotel and stuff. And once again, Boston's just an old, like, I think everything was smaller back then than now and stuff. I probably just realized that. Yeah. But anyways, yeah. Hopefully y'all enjoy the song. So hopefully y'all enjoy. So everyone, we're back. Great tune we got. Has that little funkiness in there, and seems like a few solos and stuff like what I discussed about earlier reminded me of Dave Matthews Band. Carter Beaufort, the drummer, he was one of my main influences in drumming, and just great drummer, and the whole band's really good. I think I saw them, the Jazz and Heritage Festival in New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
I went there and saw them. Have you ever played there or anything? Or
I played in New Orleans, but not at that festival. No.
Oh, okay. It's a cool festival and stuff. I usually go there.
Mm-hmm.
I can't go there this year because I get off later, but I usually get to see them. I played there once with Donald Harrison, the Tibatina's internship program. I went there my sophomore year, and we played a few songs, and then we played at the jazz tent. So that was my first time playing at Jazz Fest, and hopefully later on I'll play there more times and stuff. So yeah, great tune. Great tune, great music and everything. Yeah. So let's get to the Berkeley teaching. So you teach at Berkeley, obviously, professor. What was it like being a professor at Berkeley?
I enjoy working with the students. Most of my work's in the ensemble department. I also have some students in the brass department. Like I was saying, most of my classes are small group jazz ensembles, and I have a few mixed styles ensembles. It alternates from semester to semester. And then teach a few core classes. I have an improv tech class and also a jazz repertoire class. I really enjoy working with students. A lot of my ensembles are, how Berkeley has a leveling system. Most of my ensembles are 2s, 3s, and 4s. I have 1-5 in the spring semester. I might have one in the fall this year too.
Nice.
Of small group jazz. But yeah, I'm really interested in, working with students in that level, and, really helping them up their level of playing, of confidence, of knowledge of what's what and everything. So I enjoy my time there. And, I have office hours where I meet with other students. I get some recital prep students at, this semester I have a few private recital prep students that are really advanced. A couple in the Global Institute and stuff. So I enjoy working there. I also teach at New England Conservatory. I teach your
alumni college.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I have an ensemble and a handful of private students there. And I'll go out to Arizona State. I teach at Arizona State a couple of times a semester. I visit there. I'm a visiting artist out in Phoenix.
Oh, you're going all the way there. Wow.
Yeah. And this semester, I'm starting to teach at the Jazz Campus in Basel, Switzerland.
Oh, wow.
So I'm going out there on Saturday for about 3 or 4 days of teaching, doing that this beginning of May and the beginning of June.
So you go everywhere to teach. Yeah. So let's. So what do you focus mostly on when you teach your students?
It changes from student to student, but I think for the most part, I've been trying to focus mostly on rhythm, time, sense of time feel, and sound. I think when I first started, teaching this music, it was mostly about the ideas. How hip of an idea. What can you play over 2-5-1? How can we do substitutions and stuff? But yes, I focus on that in some of my classes. Later in the semester in my improv tech class, we'll focus on some of those idea things. But in the beginning, we focus mostly on rhythm. Dealing with subdivision, syncopation. Being able to play like what is swing. Just working on swinging together, playing together, swinging the metronome. And just interpreting different tempos and You know, what does it mean to play ahead of the beat, on the beat, behind the beat? You know, what styles of music has that? You know, when is it appropriate to do it? When is it not? You know, so a lot of things that have to do with rhythm, especially when I'm dealing with non-drummers. You know, because drummers, that's your life. You know, working with rhythm and stuff. But you know, horn players, you know, chordal instrument players. You know, if we treat our instruments more like drums, then our sense of time and rhythm can be a lot more strong. So I've been trying to focus more on that stuff. I'm just trying to balance it out because I know my disposition is to always want to focus on, okay, what notes are going to fit as opposed to how you play that note, you know?
Yeah, just as a drummer, like, of course you have to learn rhythm. That's like the main thing, but like rhythm can be in good use with everyone and stuff. Mm-hmm. So rhythm is just it's a huge thing in playing music and trying to stay together and stuff. So definitely like every musician that wants to play any instrument needs to know rhythm, in my opinion, and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So do you give any private lessons to like within college or outside of college or anything?
Yeah, well, I work in the brass department. So yeah, I have private students at Berkeley and also recital prep students. And at NEC, I have students that take private lessons. And I mean, I've had like a couple of private students, you know, outside of school, but not many though.
Hmm. All right. Well, let's go to your other song. So, would you want to talk a little bit about it before we show to the viewers?
Yeah. This next one, it's called "Falling In," and it's on the same record called "Places." And I wrote this one in Paris, and I was walking along the river there, the Seine, right? That's the main river there, and I was walking along the edge, right on like they have like these boulders. And I just heard this melody in my head. And as I was hearing this melody, I felt like when you're standing at the edge of something, you can feel this kind of force pulling you over, like you want to fall into the water. And so I called the song "Falling In" because of the force of the song, the melody that I heard in my head at the time. So yeah, that sounds more of an upbeat kind of song in a like a 6/4 kind of big 3 kind of rhythm on this one. So.
Yeah, like before we show it to the viewers, is there any access we can get to your music? Like if anybody wants to listen to you, is there any access?
I have a website, Jason Palmer Music. You can find. I have a Bandcamp page, you know, where I sell physical products, and I have a CD Baby page, and you can find my music on all the streaming services. You know, so. Some of my more recent releases aren't on all the streaming services yet, but yeah, all the Steeplechase stuff is on there. The label, they put everything up on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff. So yeah.
All right, so yeah, there you go. Hopefully y'all enjoy the next song. All right, guys, we're back. Definitely another great piece. Kind of remind me, has that kind of jazz fusion feel, in my opinion, stuff. Kind of like Latin mambo, jazz fusion feel. Is that like kind of one of your influences to make that song?
For this one, it was it was more of listening to a group called Fly, which is a trio with Mark Turner, the saxophone player that I mentioned, Jeff Ballard, and Larry Grenadier. Some of the music that they have put out, it kind of influenced me, kind of like a world music kind of thing.
Yeah, actually, speaking of, the Marsalis brothers, New Orleans, Wynn Marsalis, all those Marsalis stuff.
Yeah, I played with Wynn. Yeah, I played in the Lincoln Center Orchestra once.
Yeah, very talented. I think I saw, Stan Moore, drummer.
Stanton Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've seen him. He played with the Marsalis brothers and stuff, and just great. Stan Moore was one of my drum teachers while I was in high school. Like, I didn't just do like marching band and everything in high school. I went to I did the Tibatina's internship with Donald Harrison. I did a Tibatina's youth workshop. I met a band. I think they let out a song called "Wish I Knew You" when I was young. So those were one of the guest bands that came in, and I got to play with them. And that was before they got they released their hit and they got up there and stuff. So it's a big privilege to play with them. And then a few years later, I got to see them play at the big stage at Jazz Fest. So I thought it was pretty cool. And then, of course, meeting Donald Harrison Jr., great guy, and get to play with him. And then there was one time we just sat there and he just soloing on the saxophone for 30 minutes straight, nonstop. I'm like, dude, you're crazy. Just going just all jazz chromatics and just everything you could think of and stuff. It was just mind blowing. So, and then Stan Moore, I got to go to his, he did drum camps. I think it was called the Stan Moore drum camps. It was right by the St. Louis Cathedral. I went there and did that stuff. But that was, got to be taught by these great musicians and get to interview these great musicians later on. So,
cool.
Yeah, New Orleans, definitely special place. Also Boston. So talking about Lilly Theatre. So we give music lessons with the website. Do you think we as educators and musicians can do more to support people who really don't have the access to learning a musical instrument?
Yeah, we can, but we need a lot of help in doing that. I think there are organizations that could do more. There are nonprofits. I don't know if the Lilly Theatre Company is a nonprofit, but
yes. So let me. I think I forgot to talk to you about this, but you were talking about a nonprofit a few minutes ago. But yeah, we are a nonprofit. I'm also the drum instructor for the Lilly Theatre Company. So I do a lot of stuff with this. I do interviews, and I used to be the production assistant, and I help with sound for plays and stuff. So we do a lot with this company that we try to help, and we try to teach lessons to anyone around the world that doesn't have access to Berkeley or any other colleges and stuff. We just try to give it out to people that don't really have the access to it. So that's why I was just saying that, because Lilly Theatre, we try our best to help people out with getting better with music, and anybody who wants to do music and doesn't have the access, we can be there for them and stuff. So we're definitely a nonprofit organization. So
so I mean, as I was saying in the beginning, there's no reason why there shouldn't be more corporations and municipalities stepping up to help organizations like yours, put more instruments in the hands and more music knowledge into the minds of people who want to, better themselves by getting better at that. So, and I think the more help we get on that end, the more help that you could give to students that need it, So yeah, it's a progression of things that need to happen in order for things to get better.
Yeah, great words right there, and we try our best to do it and stuff. And I always need more. I always need more music and everything. Mm-hmm. So, and I would say with music in general, like it's like it's like the biggest thing in your life. Like you can hear it on the radio that you put on all the time in your car. You can hear it in restaurants. You can hear it in stores. You shopping. Like just everywhere you go, you hear music. Mm-hmm. It's not just Berkeley where you hear every single student playing music and stuff. It's everywhere. Yeah. Like everywhere you go, you hear music. Especially big cities like busking. You see like all these people just out on the street, like they're not doing really anything to make money. So they busk and they use their talent or use their ability with music to make money just out on the street. And it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So what have you been bringing you music this past year? 2022, 2023. I know we're a little bit early on 2023, but yeah.
Oh yeah, I didn't get the first part of the question. What have I been?
What have you been bringing your music this past year?
What bringing?
Yeah, bringing your music.
Oh, where?
Oh, saying what? What? Well, where? Yeah, I'm sorry. Where have you been bringing your music in this past year?
Well, I mean, I've been working a lot as a side person lately. I don't know when this is going to air, but I'm playing as a leader on May 10th in the Common. They're opening up a beer garden. So I'm playing there from 6 to 8 with the trio. Tomorrow I'm playing at Harvard University as a part of their arts festival. They have an arts festival they do every year.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, I've been spending a lot of time composing the past few months. So between that and playing with other people's bands and stuff, I've been touring with Mark Turner and Allison Miller, doing a tour with Mark in the U.S. on the West Coast in the middle of May after school's done. And then we're doing a European tour in July for a couple of weeks. So yeah, as in like my music and my playing is mostly with other people's bands, but with my like compositions and the stuff that I write with my own band, that's I haven't done much because I've been writing a lot and just been more occupied with teaching and playing other people's music. So
yeah, you were talking a little bit about the rest of 2023, but what's your vision for 2023? What's your vision for the rest of 2023?
Well, I have the live thing at the end of August, so I've been mostly writing for that, and and I know Mark Turner wants to do some recording towards the end of the year too. He's been composing too, so that, and becoming a better teacher, better father, better husband. We just moved. We're up in New Hampshire now. We just moved into a new house at the end of October last year. So working on making the place very personal space, so we're putting a lot of work into the place now. And so, yeah, that's more the vision.
Yeah, New Hampshire's beautiful. Always.
Yeah, it's beautiful up here, man. Yeah. We're like about 85 miles north of Berkeley. In the Lakes region, and it's beautiful up here. It's very quiet and peaceful.
Yeah, I've been to the drum set at Portsmouth up there.
Yeah.
That's where I got my drum kit. I have like a pancake drum kit.
Yeah.
I went there, and it's definitely a great place to go.
Yeah. I'm about an hour north of there. But yeah, it's nice. There's some nice clubs up there too.
Oh, nice.
So yeah.
Yeah. If you could perform with anyone living or not living, who would you perform with and why?
Oh, geez. I don't know. Maybe Art Blakey. Would have loved to played with Art Blakey in 1959. That would have been something. Well, Horace Silver, or I don't know. Yeah.
So basically all the big jazz artists, Art Blakey's.
Or played Miles Davis' band, played in his band, but like sub for him. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's really good. Mostly jazz artists, and they're all really good and stuff. Probably with me as a drummer, Neil Peart, great drummer, Buddy Rich, everyone. So so what are some parting words you would like to leave us with?
I'd say always strive for beauty in what you do. Beauty and truth. You got to stay true to what you are and who you feel, and what and connecting what that sounds like whenever you perform, and whatever that means to you.
Mm-hmm.
And try to inspire and stay inspired. Always seek beauty and I don't know, sophistication and enjoy in the music that you listen to, and the stuff that you're inspired by. And I'm just speaking for music art, but I mean, it also applies to, a lot of other genres of art. So yeah, just go for that nowadays, because there's a lot of other stuff out there. So you gotta just always seek stuff that's a force for good. I was reading a quote by John Coltrane where he talked about wanting his music to be a force for real good, and he understood that there are a lot of forces that are out there that aren't for good, but he wanted to do the exact opposite. So yeah, just always strive for looking for that and exuding that in your own art. So.
Yeah, I would contribute to that. I would say, like, if you're not learning, you're not living.
Right.
So just even though if you're like the greatest, if you earn a doctor's degree, if you're a professor, if you're just like the greatest musician in the world, you can still learn and stuff. Mm-hmm. Like, I definitely think there's a lot of people that said that, but that's a very good quote that just sticks to me and stuff. So just contributing to our own thoughts. But yeah, that's it for our interview. Jason Palmer, thank you so much for taking your time and pleasure to be part of this great, fantastic interview. And also interviewing these other artists and stuff, and very inspiring person to talk to, and keep up the good work with being a musician and stuff, being the professor. And hope everybody enjoyed the video. And if you'd like to take lessons from this nonprofit, go to www.lillytheatrecompany.org. So we'll see y'all around.
Yeah, thank you, William. Yeah, thank you, Lilly.